There is a common chorus among professed atheists. Faith, they say, is incompatible with reason. Superstition and fairy tales, they chant. Then the bass line swells. It's all unscientific. What is especially interesting is just how many evangelical Christians are humming along. Just believe, they say. Christians have bought into the lie. Before we go any further, we have to briefly consider an important question. Is God real? Oh, there's so much to say here, but I'll keep it fairly short. We've heard all of this before anyway. The atheist answers no, or at least there's no evidence suggesting the existence of a deity. The Christian says God is real. Cue the atheistic scoffing. Now, it's not my purpose in this video to give an answer to that question. Not exactly. I believe the answer is obvious enough anyway. Maybe I'll get to it in the future. For now, I intend to argue that, far from being irrational, faith in God is fundamentally rational. I'm confident that any clear-sighted unbeliever can grant that, at least, belief in the reality of deity is not irrational. Let's start here. 1. The world is. That is, the world exists. And by world, I mean cosmos, universe, undeniable physical reality. 2. The world is something. 3. Something does not come from nothing. 4. Therefore, the world is created. There. Nothing so unreasonable about that. But, cries the atheist, where did God come from? I reply, you're getting ahead of yourself, my eager atheist friend, but here's my answer. I don't know. How could I? Yes, I really don't know where God came from, if that's even the right way of phrasing it, which it probably isn't. Now, what's wrong with saying so? Is my argument thereby emptied of logic? Now let's let the atheist have his turn. 1. The world is, that is, the world exists. 2. The world is something. 3. The world came into being from nothing. Now, no atheist I know would actually say this, but this is a problem. Does something come from nothing? The atheist can be honest and say, I don't know. Really, I'd be happy with that. But what does he do instead? He says, my views are irrational, even absurd, because I look at something as indescribably complex as the observable reality all around us, and I say that it is created, that behind that complexity lies a mind, leaving aside for now just what that mind is, and admitting that I don't understand everything about that mind. Because, again, how could I? I am the irrational one, says the man who tells me that something comes from nothing. I don't think I need to tell you how irrational that is. Unscientific, even. Of course, it's unscientific because it's not really a scientific question. When you point out to an unbeliever that, as a rule, something does not come from nothing, he will probably reply something to the effect of, well, where does God come from? You're just kicking the ball back, he'll say, and fair enough. But the atheist needs to admit that he does not know how something could ever come from nothing, and he needs to grant that at the very least, the believer's belief in deity is no less irrational than the unbeliever's unbelief. It is reasonable to suggest that the world came into being because it was brought into being. How is that less reasonable than the thought that the world came into being from nothing? This is the big lie. Faith and reason are incompatible. A Christian should swat away such a ridiculous notion as he would a buzzing fly. God himself is the source of all order, all logic. There is an incontrovertible rational order in the universe. Mathematical laws do not change. Physical laws cannot be altered. It is not for nothing that the Bible speaks of Christ as the Word, the Logos. As Paul says, In him all things consist. Belief in God is fundamentally a rational exercise. It is a shame that Christians have so thoughtlessly given ground to their opponents here. Just believe, that doesn't cut it. Your belief has to be rooted in something. Be always ready to give an answer, Peter says. Christians don't let the unbelievers get away with that artificial division of faith and reason. Don't believe them when they speak as though they are alone capable of rational thought, when they dismiss your faith as nonsense. They couldn't be more wrong.